You can hit pads, you can shadow box, you can do all the sparring in the world. You need to really work your ring control if you want to get those finishes you're looking for. Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing. Let's get right into the 3 different ways and drills that we can use to improve our ring control. It's really a factor that's really often overlooked. What happens is we hit pads in open space, we spar in open space, or we spar in a ring where there's so many people and you can't really utilize the ring. So you have to take control of and advantage of those ropes. That's why we have them. There's corners. That's why a lot of good kickboxers don't like using the cage in MMA, because they don't have those corners where you can herd people in. So you need to take advantage of the surrounding you're fighting or training in. And this is why ring control is really important. You want to be able to stick your opponent against the ropes if you need to. Right? Especially if you're a shorter fighter, if you're a pressure fighter, if you're a fighter that really is more successful on the inside, you have to use this ring control. And if you watch my career, the way I used my ring control was the way I set up my low kicks. As I put someone into the corner, I give them one direction or the other. I force them to go one way. As they go that way, that's where I bring the power. As they come one way, I'll use my low kick. They circle the other way, I like to use my left hooks. So let me show you the different drills. The first one we're going to use is the single pad drilling. We're going to really capitalize on lateral tracking, right? When someone's against the ropes, say the ropes are behind me, I can't go backwards, I can't go forward. So a lot of your combinations have to be on attacking as I move one way, stopping me, attacking me as I go the other way. So you got to have those set combinations. The second one we're going to do is with a partner, and at least this way you can see the different areas. You can attack the head, the body, because when you have someone against the ropes or in the corners, it's so important to attack the body. If you're only head punching, it's easy for the opponent to slip under and get away and escape. That's why you got to hit the body if you're just boxing. But again, that's where the low kick is most effectively used, off of the ring control. So I'm going to show you that. And finally, you got to have ring control with good distance control, because a lot of times when you have someone in the corner against the ropes, it's like putting a dog in a corner. All of a sudden, it's going to attack eventually. So when you're doing this ring control, you got to have your distance control on point. You got to be able to avoid quickly and still keep that pressure on. So let's get to the drills. One of my favorite drills is using the single pad. We're going to work on our lateral tracking with our low kick. So you can see Matt's against the ropes. Now I want to punish him for whichever way he moves, and I'm going to use my low kick. So as Matt moves one way, I step in front, I chop the leg. Now I'm going to come back to my neutral. I'm going to shuffle over, step in again, and meet that leg and chop. Okay? So I step in, chop. Come back, step in. The key is I want to be slightly in front, okay? Meet in front. This way I can have the power to extend, okay? The other thing I want you to do is really focus on my feet and in that triangle. When I'm shuffling, it's really hard to shuffle fast with my feet in my position, okay? So it's really easy for him to spin, and especially get around this side of me. So by opening this stance, it's really fast for me to come over, and then I can step in and a chop. You can see now, because this is going to become important for the third drill, after I kick, boom, I pull the back foot out and pull the other foot out. Now I have my built-in distance control. That's the key, the triangle, okay? Here, step in, chop. Back, step in, and chop, okay? Let's go with some speed. Shot. 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 Okay? Now, one of my favorites is the hook. As I circle this way, the left hook comes. Okay, so I turn my shoulder, I catch the hook. As they circle the other way, turn my shoulder, I meet them with the hook. All right, let's get that rhythm. Come here. It's part of my lateral tracking. And then you can mix this with the hooks and the low kicks. Ush. 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 The second drill now is we're gonna use a partner, and I'm gonna show you my favorite ring control setups. Like I mentioned all the time, you need to have go-tos. You don't wanna have to think, especially in the fight. You have the crowd, you might be hurt, you might have an injury, you know, your opponent might be frustrating you. So you have to have set combinations that you can rely on. So what I like to do, because I'm an orthodox fighter, as my opponent comes to my right, this is my right kick, okay? So I could kick the body, kick the arm, okay? Or I can come out with a nice hard hooks on the other side, okay? So as they circle this way, this is where I like my left hook. I like to come to the head and attack with multiple levels off of my left hook. And if you notice, when I cut this side off here, it forces them to step this way. As they step this way, it opens up to my low kick. And that's what ring controlling is. And that's what I talk about, using the rings and walking your opponents into your lethal strikes. And let's get that flow from there, and then we'll build in some free flow. Okay? And now from here, we'll go into a little free flow. The third and final drill, very similar to the one before. Now the person that's against the ropes could have single counters. When you have someone against the ropes in the corner, they're very hesitant and they might throw the big looping punches. So if the overhand right comes, boom, you gotta be clear of it and you gotta be prepared. There's been so many situations in fights where you may have your opponent hurt. They may be against the ropes. And then you get carried away, you drop your hands, and you go to sleep, okay? So when you have someone hurt, when you have them against the ropes, this is where defense, you gotta be patient. This is where experience comes into play. Stay tight, stay defensive, and watch for that counter, okay? So what I like to do is I'll stay active, okay? I'll keep off the guard, still following those same strategies here. But you notice I have just enough distance where if I hit here and I see it, I could evade, I can pull out. That's the first thing, get out of the way. The second thing I can do, after I've seen that, right? I'm like, okay, he's really trying to set up that overhand right. So what am I gonna do is I'm gonna touch and play. I'm not gonna put too much power on my shots, because when I dig my shots, I gotta weight myself, it's harder to defend. So I'm gonna stay light. As soon as I feel it, boom, I'll catch, and then I'll counter off of that. Okay, so for this drill, we're gonna rely on the overhand right. As a coach, you can do the single counter as a hook, as a lead hook, as a rear hook, as an overhand, as even a low kick. You decide what you want that single counter shot to be. Attack, block it, and keep attacking, okay? So for this drill, we're gonna go probably the most popular one, the overhand right. Using ring control in your pad work, in your trainings, will pay a huge benefit when you transfer over your training into the actual competition. You gotta remember, you need to practice in the environment that you fight in. So that's why it's important. Make sure you use those lateral tracking drills. Get your opponent in the corner and really punish them. If you watch a lot of my fights, that was a lot of my key strategies. Don't tell anybody, but I just let the secret out. Watch my fight with Raymond Daniels. You put them in the corner. As soon as they escape the corner, that's when you really attack with your hooks and your low kicks, or whatever style you or your coaches come up with. Okay? So use these 3 different drills into your training and you'll see the benefit. All right? Keep liking, keep subscribing, hit that bell so you can be the first to get this and learn it before your opponent does. All right? We'll see you next week.